all 5 fingers on your left or right hand to get a hold of this episode. It's episode 5 of the Almost There podcast with me, Dan Brennan, and my lovely co-host, Alicia Long. Alicia, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Good. Spring has sprung. I don't know when the good audience is going to get to hear this, but I hope we've had many nice spring days in a row. I almost don't want to be inside podcasting.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like...
I suggested recording outside, but...
You did, but we don't have the little socks for our microphones.
We don't have the technology for that.
At the next board meeting, we'll try and requisition some funds. Let's get caught up. Where you been?
I have been around Toronto, but having a fun, good time. My roommate and really good friend became a citizen on Friday.
A citizen of what? Toronto?
Of Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's an Irish lad. He's from Dublin.
Oh, nice. I like him already.
Yes, but he's now also a Canadian, officially.
Right. Yes.
So we did he'd known that this ceremony was going to happen for a while, and he wanted to do it in person. I guess they've switched a lot to mostly doing them online because of COVID and all that.
Yeah.
So at first he thought that he was going to have to go to Hamilton because there weren't really any ceremonies going on.
You have to say that with a smile on your
Toronto.
face when I'm in the room.
Right? But we were like, okay, cool, that could be a lot of fun. We've got friends in Burlington and Hamilton. We can do a pub crawl after. So we wanted to do a whole celebration. But then very last minute on Tuesday, he found out that there was a ceremony at Casa Loma, which is essentially in our backyard. We live very close to there.
Yeah, and that's just for those overseas listeners, that is an iconic Toronto landmark.
Yes, it's a beautiful home that some rich person built.
On top of a hill.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how the city got a hold of it, but it's a tourist trap now, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So... he was only supposed to have 1+1. So I was like, oh, bummer. You're going to bring your girlfriend. That's cool. I can come and take pictures though anyways and be a real nerd about it all.
Right.
But we decided that I should just try and get in. So I ended up going in and sitting through the whole ceremony. And I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it'd be really stuffy and official.
Yeah.
But it was actually really lovely. It was they focused a lot on the shared values of Canadians and now you belong here, but now Canada belongs to you as well, and this is what it means to be a citizen, and kind of the importance of
it means not sneaking people into official engagement. Can't believe the man started his career as a Canadian with you breaking the rules.
Sneaking in. Well, other people had their whole families there, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But then, and then also it was the judge presiding over it. It was her last one before her retirement.
Oh,
so
are you
they
serious?
They brought out a bouquet for her, and she did a little speech herself. And she herself was an immigrant. She was born in India, grew up in
that's
Britain,
amazing.
and then has been in Canada for 15 years. And then it was really lovely. And there were 2 speakers. One of the speakers was the guy who's the president of the company that owns Casa Loma.
Right.
Who immigrated here with his family when he was 3 from Italy and all these things. And then there was a reception afterwards.
Right.
With free dessert. So we beelined it there, of course.
Canadians share food.
Yeah. And then there was an opportunity for people for all the new citizens to get a picture with the judge. So Jeff, he wanted to get a picture, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to ask. They also gave a little Canadian flag for everyone when they gave their certificate, a pin, and a flag. And then he's like, I'm going to see if she'll sign my flag. So he was one of the last ones to get a picture. Then he's like, will you sign this? She's like, I have to say no one's ever asked me to do this. And we're like, well, what a fine time on your retirement.
Yeah.
To have someone ask for your autograph.
Should have asked her, what are you going to do for bribes?
Yeah. But yeah, so that was really lovely.
That sounds amazing. I went through that when I was 8. We became Canadian citizens after living here for, I think it worked out to be 5 or so years. I think that was the limit. And I don't have a great memory, but I remember that day, and it was rather special. It was a rather special event. Yeah. And I didn't know that I was out there as inspiring young boys from Dublin, to follow in my footsteps. I didn't know I was a trailblazer.
Yeah, you're a model citizen.
Oh, I didn't go that far. Let's not go that far.
But then after we had such a lovely ceremony, we then had a much less lovely ceremony where we went on like a big bar crawl. We got a bunch of people together.
It was a Friday night, and this really shows my age because I was supposed to come join you after a show, and I did not. I went home licking my wounds.
Yeah, and you really, I mean, we were all licking our wounds the next day, but it was a great time. We like encouraged people to dress up in either like red and white colors or Canadian tuxedo.
Nice.
For those who are unaware, that's like denim on denim.
Denim on denim.
Or
you can have a Yamaha phaser jacket. If you have a snowmobile jacket, that's one of the accessories you're allowed with the Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah. Or lumberjack chic was the other suggestion.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we like put together a little like bingo game. We had like hats, but and we went to Kensington Market. For those who don't know, it's a bit of like a trendy area, kind of like young hipstery.
Yep.
So a very strange place to be in like fully tacky Canadian regalia.
Yeah.
And also like seeing some of the looks we were getting, I was like, oh, some people probably think that we're like serious, like that. They probably think that we were like,
this is how
driving to Ottawa a few years ago, you know, in a convoy formation.
Were you singing, do you want to be in my convoy or a convoy song or something?
Yeah, so there were like some people that I was like, oh, he just became a citizen. We're just doing a thing. Like, we're just doing a thing. We're safe. We ended up going to like, there was like a queer event we ended up going into, and that was the one where some people were like, what's going on here?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want you normals ruining our queer event with your gayness, with your happiness. That's fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway, so where you been?
I finally got to compete in the UFCC. Ooh. For those listeners who didn't know, there was some bad blood. I ended up in an altercation with my opponent, Larry Smith, at the Judge on Augusta because they were having, it was 40 years for Larry in comedy, so they're having the roast of Larry Smith, and I was asked to stay away. And I don't know if the listening audience knows this, but I ran that room for 6 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm the reason there's a room there.
They can't ask you to stay away.
They can't ask me to stay away. So I went in just to wish him a happy 40 years and to let him know that his last night in comedy would be when we meet in the octagon for the UFCC. And, you know, a shoving match ensued, and it was really, really ugly, all caught on video. But on the night of the show, we had a lot of fun. Larry was a worthy winner, although I am protesting. You're going to see an angry video from me tomorrow. Well,
are you going to ask for a rematch? Is
well,
that
I believe that a rule was broken, and I've instructed my lawyers to file a complaint, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I wasn't able to make it in person, but Levity has recently started live streaming some of their shows, so I actually was able to watch on the live stream. Yeah,
that's amazing, eh?
Yeah. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. But I saw that Larry had some hype men. Are you gonna?
Well, this is the other thing that really tried to throw me off my game. Those two hype men, Leo and Christian, I consider them to be family. Leo's wife Sarah does comedy, and they've been coming to the Judge for years. They work at a lovely restaurant called Radius, and they're all around great dudes. I see them when I'm in watching the football at the Lion's Head. And to see them in Larry's corner that night.
An extra level of betrayal.
Oh my God, talk about trying to throw me off my game. I like, betrayal is the only word I can use. I did feel betrayed by them. I saw them a couple nights later, completely snubbed them. I will not be speaking to them anytime soon. But it was all really, really great fun. And, Greg Dabrowski was the referee. And I messaged him in the morning. And this is what I love about collaborating with people. I messaged him in the morning. I'm like, do the old school wrestling, check the bottom of the shoes and the waistband. Search us for weapons. There's real bad blood between the two of us, right? Yeah. And he writes back, he goes, yeah, but I gotta find weapons. Like, you gotta bring like a spatula or something like that, right? So I had a book under my arm, I had a spatula and a screwdriver, and it didn't really play that well with the audience because there was music going on, there was other things going on. We didn't spotlight it the way we should have, but we learn as we go. So the audience didn't quite get it, but he pulls out this joke book, 101 jokes, and he's like, watch this, Dad. Like, hold it up to the audience.
And then what did Larry have? Larry had something too.
Larry had, So Larry got introduced second because of the cornermen and stuff like that, right? And I said, okay, so if I'm going to go in first, you have to have weapons too. So I just split what I had with him, which was like an egg beater and something else, some other. I just grabbed up a handful of things. I think a wooden spoon, Yeah. So it was really, really good fun. I hope my lawyers are successful in my appeals because I would love to do it again.
Larry will be here.
I'll tell you this though, because you had Pete Van Dyke from Live at the Dutch Hall and Scott Falconbridge, who our audience knows, on the panel, and they buried us as old guys before we even. Like I was listening to it. If I didn't know it was my intro, I'd be like, I'm not sticking around to watch these losers.
Like, did you prove them wrong?
I don't know. I think the audience really enjoyed it. I thought each of the rounds that night was really, really strong, and I think overall it was a really good show. And quite frankly, it was a really good turnout. It's becoming a runaway success in my view. It's just something different and something a lot of fun, and a lot of hard work has gone into it too.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah,
unique.
yeah.
Even like the exit interviews afterwards and everything like that. Like it was a lot.
Yeah,
of fun.
that was funny. That was funny. You should see mine. I think I
Yeah.
was like, I lost in the heavyweight division to a man who weighs 255 pounds less than me. Yeah, it was a bit of a shock that. But like I say, I got good lawyers. That's why we have good lawyers. And I hope that justice is served. Because the complaint was that we were doing street jokes. So we were supposed to do one short joke each and then a long joke. So I went up and I did a very, very short joke, like a one-liner. A pirate walks into a bar type scenario. And Larry gets up. He's 5 minutes into his joke. And he ain't even rounded the first corner of this joke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the joke is a track, he's still on the first straightaway. I'm like, where? And I kept going like this to the referee. I'm like, what is going on here? So that is the basis of my complaint. But in fact, that if he'd been disqualified from that round, we would have had to go on to a third round. And it was fun because one of the rounds we did impressions. And
I enjoyed your impressions.
I have like 4 impressions that I never do. I only do them for me in the car. You know what I mean? Like Randy Macho Man Savage singing the songs of the Tragically Hip. That's ridiculous. That's just stupid. That is for my amusement. I never thought I'd do them on stage, but we needed something, so we went with that. Yeah. And the angry Leonard Cohen always works a little bit better with the ukulele. Yeah. Alicia. So who do we have as a treat in the interview cocktail hour segment of our show this week?
Well, it feels relevant that we've spoken a lot about levity again because this is a levity favorite. Manolis Zontanos.
Well, the place wouldn't exist without him. He's we didn't even get into that, but he's decorated the walls at Levity, the most interesting walls in comedy. So we went over to Manolis's to record this, and I want to let the audience know that I don't know how to say this other than I got bit by a dog in the making of this interview.
Yes, but you were a very brave boy and you soldiered on.
Thank you very much. If I could get a lollipop to go with that.
But you had your finger like wrapped in like paper towel pretty much the whole interview?
Yeah. There was like 3 big chunks of paper towel just covered in my blood.
Really did not like you. She was fine with me, I would like to point out.
That is a very, very good point. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to the listeners. That dog could smell the fear on me. That's all there is to that.
Yeah.
You know? And, but yeah, I got bit by a dog and it was all right. It wasn't so much a bite as I had my hand out. To try and say, because you're supposed to do that, like sniff my hand, I'm all right. And as Dolly, and trust me, she didn't look like a dolly, came lunging forward, right?
Yeah, and
so
she was like fine with you at first, so it was a moment where it's like, is the move to sniff? And it seemed like it could have been, and it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but the barking, there was a lot of barking.
Yeah.
And then there was the smell of my fear.
Yeah.
And then we had to record the podcast with a dog that had bit me lying at your feet. I'm like, so no matter what happens with this podcast, on the day that we fall out and you start yelling at me about all the things you've done, the sacrifices you've made, I will point out that I've bled for this podcast. Hey? Yeah. No rabies, though. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a wide-ranging conversation with the lovely Manolis Zontanos. I sound a little bit annoyed with Alicia at the start of it because there's subjects that she prioritized that I possibly would not have prioritized. But that's for you, the listener, to decide.
I
Go
had
ahead.
things I had to say.
You had an agenda. That's one way of putting it. Guys, you're really going to enjoy this. Our interview, our cocktail hour with Manolis Zontanos.
Enjoy.
Alicia, it's great to see you again, back on the cocktail hour. We have a very special guest today, a guest who's probably been in comedy as long as anyone I know, a guest who has traveled the world doing comedy, knows some of the most famous people in comedy. His name gets mentioned on the Joe Rogan podcast from time to time. And in Hamilton, we refer to him as the Godfather. But you don't want to talk to him about any of that today. You have another subject in mind for our esteemed guest.
Yes. I brought you here to talk about farts. And also, actually, I messaged Dan on my way here to Hamilton, and I said I forgot my notebook, but all I had written in there was unsolicited dick pics and farts. So I think we'll be all right.
I think that's what we'll go with. Our guest today is the fabulous Manolis Zontanos. Thank you very much for opening up your home to us.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
I thank you.
Yeah, right. Have you done this before, Manolis?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, such an honor, I'm sure, for you to be on our podcast.
It is. I actually like doing podcasts.
I do too.
Yeah.
We're having a lot of fun with this one. So on to that subject, or maybe we'll get into it later. I don't know how you want to roll into it, but
well, we usually start off talking about how we first met each other.
That's right. Do you remember when we first met, Manolis? I bet you don't.
I don't. I think I would if you remind me. I actually don't remember.
I would assume the first time we met was the first time I did stand up at the old Yuck Yucks in Hamilton. I would assume that you were there that night. I don't remember the first time we met. I remember thinking to myself, "Don't annoy that guy. Don't be one of these new people who's just hanging off of him." You know, and I think the first memorable conversation we ever had in my mind, we were at Brandsterdam, and I think it was St. Paddy's Day, and it was a really slow night at Brandsterdam, and I came off stage feeling really bad about myself, and you bounded up to me, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to say something to me about quitting comedy, and you bounded up to me and said, when you get divorced, do you have to pay alimony?
Good icebreaker. Were you like wondering for like future notes in case like you needed to know someday?
I did. It was based on a conversation you were having with someone else in the room. But
I get easily confused about things because in my head, like when people pay child support, I thought child support and alimony was the same thing. I didn't realize they were separate things.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure all that out. And I'm like, it's not something I should have known how all that worked. Like, when I meet you 5 years ago?
Oh, more than that. It would have been 9 years ago.
9 years ago. But even 9 years ago, I would have been in my early 40s. Right? I should know that.
Well, I guess if you've never been married, you probably never had to dig too deep into it, right?
Yeah. I'm too lazy to try to know information that I don't need, you know? And then all of a sudden I think, were you just getting divorced at the time or something?
No, I had been divorced. I started comedy after the divorce. Yeah. I just thought it was really funny. Like, that's the vibe I'm giving off. If anybody knows about divorce, it's this guy right
This
here.
guy for sure.
Divorced energy over there.
What I like about Dan is when I first met him, is like, I'm like, okay, this is nice. He's a nice guy. But there was like something that was annoying to me about you. I don't know why, but I found you annoying at first. And then it got to the point where like some reason I was almost like, it was almost like Larry David. You know, there's like,
right.
Like Larry David's like, if you don't get Larry David, you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, this guy's such a tool. And then all of a sudden, like, and now it's like, Larry David is a genius.
Yeah.
And like, that's
right.
why,
So Dan is the Larry David of Hamilton? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. In a way, there's something about you just I find like so entertaining.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where we were going with this. But
I just find your presence and the way you talk, like you're a real character. Like you, like he's not pretending. This is really who he is. He's like, you Papa. You like, I am what I am. Like this is you. If you're trying to figure out what Dan is, you can't.
Yeah.
You know already.
that sounds great.
You know, like
When you hear a story about Dan, you're like, yeah, that checks out. That sounds like something Dan would do.
yeah.
Well, I find I pay tribute to every place I've ever lived and everyone I've ever met in the words that I use and the phrases. I used to hang out with a guy from Yorkshire, and if you tell him something incredible, he would always say to you, "You must be joking," and I still do that. People are randomly like, "Why did this guy become a Yorkshireman? The information was that shocking to him. He switched accents, right?" Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think also like I've watched you like do a few things. I think it's Scott Falconbridge's show, like where you're acting. And I'm like his acting. Your acting's actually amazing.
Really?
Yeah, like I really
praise.
I think you're like. I think you could be a really good actor.
Oh, I thank you.
I think you're a great comic, but I think you could actually.
Comics usually make good actors, especially dramatists.
Yeah.
That's a really nice praise. When I do those things, anytime I've done acting, I'm just trying to do the least amount as possible. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm trying not to be big in any way.
I feel like
no
a lot of
facial
people
expressions.
overact, especially when they're starting out.
Yeah, that's the only
Like, go
direction I
big.
have to myself is don't do too much.
Genius. You know, so it's simple. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the word I say too. I do say genius too much.
Well, that's nice. I guess it
good
kind of
word.
like loses its shine if you're calling everyone a genius.
Right.
It's like, if you think Dan's a genius, I don't know if it quite means the same.
If I hear you call the dog a genius, I'm going to be like, maybe.
I would put like that's what I mean. Like it always pays to be cool. You know what I mean? Because you never know who gets where, right?
Yeah.
And like, but if I was able to get some sort of like I don't know, some Netflix sitcom or something, like I would, if I thought the right character, like I needed this guy, and I'd be like, fucking Dan. I could slide you in there, and it'd be no issues.
Interesting. I like it. So get crack on with that. There's
Yeah.
lots of Netflix money out there at the moment.
If I could just get famous,
It's only been 20 years.
it's
and
20. It's 1998 when I first did my first stand-up set. So
That's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
how many years is that?
Wait, that's 25, I guess, around that. 26.
24 plus 2? 26?
Yeah.
Don't make me do
It's
math
riveting
on a
when we start
Sunday.
doing math
Yeah.
on the podcast. It goes so smoothly. This is the last interview we did was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where was
you
the first?
Sorry, go ahead, Alicia.
Where was the first time you did stand up?
Yuck Yucks downtown Hamilton in the basement. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is that now Levity?
No,
Or it
it
was
was like
different then?
Yuck Yucks went from there up the mountain and then back down the mountain and then to where Levity is, and then they left. Yucks, they had an issue and Yucks left and they turned out place into Levity, but in the basement, the original Yuck Yucks.
Right.
Wow.
Long before my time.
Yeah,
Was it a big
98,
crowd?
Wow.
it was an amateur night and it was about probably like I bet you 50 or 60 people might have been there.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah,
was
it looked like it
nervous.
sounded like a good crowd. I watched the clip with great interest yesterday. I thought that was it was fascinating to watch your first set.
Yeah, you just posted it online, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The reason weirdly enough, like it's weird, like your brain just gets triggered, and I wasn't doing anything yesterday. I'm like, I should just try to put something on fucking TikTok, right? And I was going through my phone, and I realized I saw that set. I'm like, oh yeah, my first set, because I have it on my phone. But the day, like on this past Wednesday, there's this guy in the audience, and I just started talking to him, and I could tell he's, oh, you want? I'm like, I'm always right. I'm like, are you comics? Like, no. Do you want to do stand up? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I knew it. And then I go, and then we kept talking, and he said I said maybe we'll try to get you on tonight. Then he says, I'll see if we got 5 minutes. And he goes, well, I only could really maybe 3. And then I'm like, as soon as you throw 3, I go, fuck it. You want to come up right now? And I brought him up.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's the post before that post. So I thought, I'll post that one now because
Right.
it was and it was his first set.
Right.
That's awesome. How did he do?
He did for a guy that wasn't
Just
really
got
prepared.
pulled up, yeah.
Yeah, just got pulled up, and he tried to riff a bit, and then he did a street joke, but he did okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome.
know?
That's a pretty cool first story for that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was real cool. You felt like he like afterwards, he felt like rock and roll. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
rather exhilarating the first time you do stand up. If I guess if you're meant to do it, if it was the thing that you were meant to do. I literally remember driving home from my first time, thinking about the set, thinking about what I could have done better. And it felt like my brain was popping, like avenues in my brain were opening up as I started to think about what I could do. And like there was popcorn popping on top of my head. It was
Right.
the feeling in my brain. I'm like, yeah, I should have done this a lot sooner.
Yeah, your brain will never feel more alive than after a good set. Like it's just, it's one of those things too. If I'm going through like a time, like which is most of the time, I'm like, I do a set. If I have a good set, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I haven't killed myself.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save you some money on therapy. Jesse Ralph told me, he goes, I went to my therapist, okay, and he said to his therapist, if I haven't been on stage in 3 days, I get sad, I get depressed. Like, is that normal? And the therapist said, yeah, you're away from the thing that you love. Why wouldn't you feel sad about that, right?
Right.
And I got that. Like, if I haven't done it for 2 or 3 days, I'm like, oh, I gotta get out there. Why don't I have a show tonight? Right.
Right.
So I was like, that just saved me $200 going to a therapist and finding out I'm actually quite normal.
Yeah. It's nice to crowdsource therapy. Like, what'd your therapist tell you?
On this budget, it's important.
Yeah.
I'll never go to a therapist for one simple fact, and you probably would agree with this. You know me well enough, right?
Yeah.
It'd only be a matter like a couple of months would go by, and it'd be like I'd go in, and the therapist would look at me and go, oh, thank God you're here. You're not going to believe the week I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, just fucking dealing with this guy's problems.
Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
I felt. I did therapy for a bit last summer, and I said to my friends, I was like, I feel like by the last session, I'm going to be helping her with her problems.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then the last session, she was like, well, I hope this was helpful to you. And I was like, I guess I won't book any more sessions with you if you don't think you can help me.
Right.
But it was kind of that vibe where,
Right.
yeah.
Was it helpful?
Yeah, it was validating, but almost too validating.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Validating meaning like, what do you mean? Like, like.
Well,
you
the
felt
thing that
you
I was
got-
like talking about, she was like, yeah, you're right. Everything you're saying here is right. And
Right.
I'm like,
You just needed to hear it from someone else's
Yeah.
perspective.
yeah. Where I think I would have liked to hear, like, maybe you could have done this differently. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
one of those things. I forget who told me this, or I've heard this a few times. Like, if I was like having a problem with, say, a girlfriend, and I was thinking of breaking up with her, right? Just say, and I said to you, like, do you think I should break up with this girl? This is why I'm thinking. Like, if I'm asking you, you already know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's an issue there already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's always I love that saying where I don't know who came up with it. It was like the right thing to do, and the hardest thing to do is usually the same thing. You know, so
Yeah. You just got to talk through the resistance
yeah.
of it.
But yeah, have you tried therapy, Dan?
I haven't. I should go to therapy. I've got a lot of anger issues I'm trying to deal with, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Now I feel like this is turning into an intervention. Like, are we just going to have group therapy now? Should
might
we
have
do
to,
it
but I'll tell
together?
you this, there's a lyric in a Gil Scott-Heron song. I am the closest thing I have to a voice of reason, and that really, really sticks with me. And I wrote it on my list of phrases that I keep by the door to keep me motivated and focused on my goals. But I added the line, change that. Like, you can't be your own voice of reason. You know, you need people in life that you can talk things through.
Yeah.
right? Whether that's a good
sounding
friend or a
board.
therapist.
Community
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, like the thing is, like having good friends to talk to is really important. And stand up friends are important too. That's like they're a little bit harder to get because comedians don't really want anybody else to do better than them, and they're like,
Yeah, that's so true.
yeah. You know, I always say like the craziest or the biggest risk a comedian can ever take in his career is help another comedian.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because because most of them they're just too scared that like if they were to help someone in any way, and then they like even something like sharing their video Share someone's video, and then they're like thinking like, well, what happens if someone says it, and then next thing you know, they're in Just for Laughs, and I could have been me, and I helped it, like it's like that kind of thinking is just living in fear. You're just living.
Right.
And it holds I think it holds everyone back, because usually it's like you want to rise and take everyone with you. And like the good thing about laughter is it's not like a finite resource. Like if you help someone out and they find an audience member, that audience member might come to your show and become your fan as well.
Right. I mean, if you look at like what I think a lot of guys like about Rogan is like they know he helps a lot of his buddies out from the long time ago. And then guys like Ari, I was in Houston one time by luck. Ari Shafir was like, he was headlining the Improv. And when I was there the same weekend for something else, I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. So I went to his show on Saturday to watch it, and I was in the green room. That's what was amazing about Ari. It's like, yeah, we're friends, but he's like, yeah, come to the green room, hang out, right?
Right.
And then I just I overheard him talking to the manager. I'm just drinking free Ryan Cokes and just loving my life. And then he's just like, hey, can you do me a favor? He's like, my check, did you write out my check yet? And she's like, no. It's like, before you write my check out, can you take $600 off my check and put it on so-and-so's and just work out the difference? So he wanted his buddy to make an extra $600 for opening for him.
Right. That's awesome.
And the guy didn't even, I'm hearing this. Yeah. But this guy it wasn't in the room, doesn't know he's about to get this awesome $600 bonus.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's awesome.
That's
giving someone a leg up like that.
Yeah.
Do you find that the people at the top, like Ari Shafir, working comedian, well-known guy, got lots of gigs, like when you get to the top, you don't have to be an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can be magnanimous. It's just a shame that more people aren't on the way up. And it's something I fight with in myself. Like very early on, like if someone else was killing, especially after I'd been on, it bugged me. Do you know
really?
What I mean? Yeah. That's something I had to deal with,
Yeah. I sometimes I'd hate like if people did like I thought better than me, or if I didn't like my set, and then you get better. I think you get better if you have a bad set. You just want a new set to redeem yourself eventually. Yeah. But I've gotten better just like being okay with it, and just like and not worrying about. I don't worry about other comedians. Like I like comedians and I don't like them. Like it's either you're like
love hate.
Well, it's like it's just whether you're a good person or not, whether you're a dude or not a dude. And it's like you just take time to figure out sometimes. Sometimes you think something's cool and then they realize they're not. But fucking I don't I rather people kill than tank.
I love nothing more than being on a show where everybody kills, and you know that like from the opener, the people got their money's worth.
Right?
Yeah, I love being backstage. Were we talking about this on the pod or not a while ago? But there's nothing better than being at a show with guys you like or girls that you like, and you're in the green room, you're making each other laugh. And you go out on stage already up and full of joy. Right. And you walk out on stage, and whatever that energy in the green room is translates on stage. I don't know how, but it just lifts the entire show,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, comedy in some way is just like a big energy exchange. It's like everyone. That's why I think like being at shows too, like being at a live show versus like even watching a stand-up special, like it's different, like feeling that energy of the room and like laughing with people is very different from just laughing on your own, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's contagious. Like there's a contagious feeling.
Oh, that definitely
to
is.
it.
That's why comedy's so much better when people are close together.
Yeah.
Because if one person's laughing, the next person will catch that vibe.
I also say that as someone who's usually the only person laughing sometimes, which actually makes me want to bring up the first time I ever saw you was at the Judge one night, and you heckled me for laughing too hard at one of your jokes, which is the second time that's happened to me.
But I wasn't being mean though.
No. Okay. But you were like, "Why are you laughing at my jokes?" Basically, it's like, isn't that's why I'm here? That's the assignment.
Right. Yes,
it's like we're both fulfilling.
Yes, but sometimes I think that's the trick where like I'm pointing it out and then making you're probably laughing more.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And then everybody else starts giggling.
Yeah. That's 3 times I've been called out for
excessive laughing.
Yeah, at shows.
What I think I've said that to people before. It was funny, but that wasn't that funny.
It's like, what's wrong with you that you're laughing
literally
so
like,
hard at that?
Are you giving me a pity laugh? What are you doing? Why are you laughing so hard?
Yeah.
Get too much in your head.
The hottest thing a girl could ever do is just laugh at you, like off stage. If you're talking to a girl and she's laughing at everything you're saying,
Yeah.
You're like, that is probably like he'll probably give you his house. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you think I'm funny? You enjoy my company? You
That's
like
how the
me?
alimony payments
Yeah,
start.
I'll start the alimony payments now.
You got to pay in jokes. They watch shows about murder every night of the week.
Yeah. I used to be really into true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of women are into true crime podcasts and
love it.
true crime generally. I feel like it's like doing homework. It's like, just in case it happens to me, I'm going to do what this person didn't do. Like, I'm ready. I'm prepared.
I feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's like a hypervigilance thing.
Right.
Yeah,
I just got to know what could I do different.
Yeah, and there's always insurance involved.
Yeah.
And then you find out the payout. You ever notice it's maybe a Dateline one or whatever. It's like the payout was like 100,000.
Yeah.
Like, you murdered someone for 100,000?
Yeah.
That's not enough money.
Yeah. You should
What's
at least
the
add an
figure
extra
then,
zero.
Manolis? What price do you put it at?
Enough to get you out of this country.
Okay, it's someone that you.
Yeah, to
need
get a
you to-
new identity.
Yeah.
What's the number then? It's someone you don't know. I'm hiring you to kill someone that you don't know.
To kill someone I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably if like pretend would do it, because if I didn't know the person, I probably couldn't do it. But if I did, like in this scenario, I'd say like, I don't know, 20 mil.
20 mil.
Whoa.
I wonder, like,
Were you thinking less?
Way less. You can't get a person killed
Dan,
for 20 million.
cold-blooded.
Oh, it costs more? What do you
I
mean?
would think less. I think the going rate's about 10K.
I'm sure it's 10K. I'm sure it's 10K.
Manolis doesn't want to murder people, though, I think is
No,
what he's
but
trying to say.
If it's someone I don't
I
like,
think it's 10K. I have no idea how
Yeah.
much it costs to murder someone, by the way.
oh, if it's 10K, like, I mean, if it's someone I don't like, I'd probably do it for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I actually have a list.
You have
There's 3 dudes that I plan on, like, I don't know if I'll murder them, but I might, like, I will probably beat the shit out of them. Like, they're the kind of people.
kneecap them at least.
I'll just smash their heads into cement, like shit like that. Like,
Right.
Like, I'll make sure they're not going to be the same after. You know what I mean?
Right. We've
Like-
just created a new genre of podcast, either fake crime podcast or
Pre-true crime?
pre-true,
Here's the
future
thing.
true crime.
I've thought of this
Future
too.
crime?
I've thought about this too much. Where, like, because, like, I watch. Here's the thing. I want to fucking. If I was told that I had 6 months to live, I would probably do it. Like, I'd probably and I'd be like, "Are you sure I'm gonna die in 6 months?"
Yeah.
And the doctor says yes. I'm like, okay. And then the hard part is, like, because I watched that. Remember that movie that a guy built a tank and, like, tore the whole town apart? Do you ever see that documentary? I forget
No.
what it's fucking awesome. I guess
He hated everyone in the town.
he got fucked over by, like, the city hall and these rich people that, like, lived there, and, like, he decided to fucking build this. He welded this. What was it? Oh, was it a truck or some sort of a tractor? He welded. He turned his tractor and basically made a tank out of it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, put cement where he was driving it, put cement and then steel. So, like, so if you shot at him while he was driving it,
Yeah.
you couldn't kill him.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So he destroyed the whole fucking town. That's not the best part. The best part is this fucking guy had all this fucking money. He had, like, property, and he put everything into his daughter's name,
Right.
or kids or something. So what happens is, like, they go after your estate,
Yeah.
but he
has no assets.
He had no assets. So
Nice.
that's the headache now.
Right.
Like, I got to fucking put this house into my family's, someone in my family's name. I have
Right.
to do all this fucking paperwork.
And he did it all out of spite, pretty much.
I would do it. Oh yeah, he did it
Yeah.
all out of spite. It was
Yeah.
all out of spite.
I
It was
love
fucking.
that.
It's
Spite is
awesome.
the best motivator.
Yeah.
At least for me personally.
So,
I'm
like,
a
It's a
Scorpio, though.
powerful motivator. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a healthy one.
Like, how fast can I get this house out of my name?
Right. Well, if we get a pen and paper, you could send it over to me right now.
Because I have 6 months. I don't have time.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that'd be so funny. You don't die in 6 months, and you sue the doctor for the jail time, pain and suffering.
Oh, that's what would happen, though. I would go through all this trouble. I would kill 3 people and then find out that I'm going to live forever.
In prison. In
prison.
Can't this be
You've
like
gained their
Roadhouse?
life
Why are there so
force.
many cops around here?
Do you think a lot of the times people are murdered by people they know, do you think you've met the person who might murder you?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. 100%.
I can think of a couple people that might want to murder me. Yeah.
Sometimes I ask that question at parties because I'm real fun.
Yeah.
People
You don't
that
want to get invited back.
people that I used to be close friends with, I've like if I disrespected, I just completely like no problem telling them what I think and or just cutting them out of my life, and they will never talk to me about why. Hey, Manolis, why aren't we friends anymore? Because they know I'll tell them. Like so, like that's the main thing of what do you call those? There's all these different names for them, like narcissist, I think is the word.
Yeah.
It's like the one thing I've noticed by these people, they can't fucking say sorry.
Oh, yeah.
They're not wrong.
They can't. Yeah, they're not wrong. They can't fucking do it.
Anything to avoid accountability.
Yeah, accountability. Fucking no fucking way.
Yeah.
So like, and then I'll get like, hey, why? They'll get like, hey, why aren't you friends with like so and so anymore? Why? He's asked about you. Oh, I didn't. Oh, he doesn't. He can't email me. You can't call my phone up and say, hey, man, you can't see me and just ask me.
Yeah.
No, he wants to make it okay without having to fucking say sorry.
Do the work of it.
Do the
all.
work.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not wrong. Why aren't you talking to me? You know.
Yeah.
It's the best part. It's the best part because if you really don't want them in your life, you're good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they'll never say I've done like it's like I've done it 3 times now, in the last like 10 years with certain people. Like just cut them out of my life. Like I love it. I love cutting people. Love it. You disrespect me, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, some people say life's too short, to bear grudges. But I say life's too short to put up with shitty people in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't need like it's like you got to forgive. No, you don't have to fucking forgive anybody. You don't fucking
No.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like it's putting like like my forgiveness is so important.
Yeah.
I don't matter either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
Yeah.
Just fucking just not have this person in your life and go on, and you're good. You're winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, never be afraid to leave a toxic situation. We don't need therapy at all.
Yeah.
About each other.
Yeah, for a conversation that was supposed to be about farts, this is getting awfully serious.
Yeah, maybe we should lighten it up, lighten the mood.
All right.
Fill the air with some toxic fart talk.
Well, I also want to mention the unsolicited dick pic thing because you're the only person, Manolis, that I've been tempted to send a dick pic to. Because
Who's dick?
I ended up showing you. So you do this thing at Levity where you auction off items,
Right.
like knickknacks and whatever. And I was at a show one night, and you came over and brought me like a nice embroidered dog or something.
Yes, because it was in a frame and you like embroider. Yeah.
So we ended up we've had a few conversations about embroidery, and then I
Right.
was like, like a week after you gave me this embroidered thing, I was scrolling through Reddit and I found like an incredible embroidered design of like a naked dude with just like a giant wiener. And I
Okay.
was like, this is so good. I need to show someone, but I don't know who else
Oh,
would
'cause it's-
appreciate it
and you
except for Manolis. And I was like, but I can't just send him a dick pic,
An unsolicited.
an
one.
unsolicited dick pic.
Wait, did you show this to me?
I ended up showing it to you one night at
we-
Levity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably laughed.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
But it felt too abrupt to just send to your inbox.
Right.
I felt
Having
like I
never
needed to
inboxed them before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that needs a bit of a caveat.
Coming in
or an
cold like
explainer.
that.
It's so funny how like men will send their pictures of their dick to chicks like
Yeah, I don't think a dude's ever been worried about that before. I wouldn't even send an embroidered one to you.
but they're like, yeah, huh? Like it's a caveman. Huh?
This is my offer.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
No?
like that's the sound that I imagine when I open one of those as well.
Yeah.
Like it's never much thought. Like you could work the lighting a bit better. Like you're trying to work your angles. You should be.
Yeah,
But it always just does seem like a kind of
There's a
picture.
picture of my dick.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
almost like there's something, I don't know. not that it's not that straight. It's not, you're not being very straight when it's like, okay, it's gonna be, the dick's gonna be hard, right? But it's like you're by yourself.
Yeah, I had no part in that. I don't care. I don't care about it.
Like, yeah, this is not my work.
Yeah. Somebody else's handiwork. Get it out of here.
Yeah, like oh, you looked at some porn, you got your dick hard, took a picture of it, sent it to me. Now what?
Yeah, it's also probably like 2 weeks old. You sent it to 5 other people all at the same time.
Yeah.
Just seeing who's gonna bite.
Maybe
Sitting there with a heart on, waiting for the phone to ping.
Yeah. That's a really lonely visual that I never thought of.
How long before they respond?
Yeah.
But maybe we're the idiots, right? Maybe there must be one girl out there that's going.
It's gotta work.
It
for
must
people
work,
to keep
'cause-
doing it,
right?
That's
yeah,
it. That's it.
yeah.
It's like
that's yeah.
But
there's got to be.
It's like
Or
direct
people
mail. If you get a
assume-
1 in 1,000 hit
Yeah.
rate, you're killing the game.
Or if you're not getting a no, people think that's good enough. I don't know.
I'll tell you this one story. Female comic from Guelph. There was another guy, he started in comedy, but he wasn't a comedian, so he was gone quite quickly. But she asked him for a dick pic, and he sent one with it like through the jeans.
Like his dick was
Like
hard
poking
against
out
the jeans.
through the jeans?
yes.
Or
Against the
underneath the
outline of
jeans.
And then she goes, "Yeah, okay, yeah, come over. That's great.
Good enough?
Yeah, good enough. I think was the response.
That'll do.
You know what I mean? That'll do. I'm in a situation here. I need something. Come over."
Yeah.
And he writes back, "Okay, I just gotta wait till 10:30 when my parents go to bed so I can sneak out." She's like, "Okay, I don't need it that bad."
Yeah, he didn't have to say that. He just cock blocked himself so badly.
Totally.
Like
Like,
that's.
it goes through
I
a man's
usually
head.
don't like lying, but that's a situation where like lie, dude. Just don't say that. Anything but that.
Anything but that.
When a girl sends nudes, one thing I will think is like, it's weird. I don't know what's wrong with me because if like it's usually their head's not in the picture. It's just like
Yeah.
and I just go, okay, good. Like you're not an idiot. Just
Yeah.
It's a relief that they haven't put the head in there.
yeah. I don't go like, can I get one with your face? I'm like, no, I don't want. Don't send pictures with your fucking face. Right?
Don't
'Cause,
trust people.
Yeah, don't trust
that's
people.
your first thought is
Yeah,
like
like-
cybersecurity.
Yeah, I don't want. Where the fuck?
Manolis Zontanos, cybersecurity expert.
You get too anxious to receive nudes because you're worried about their safety. That's kind
Yeah.
of sweet, Manolis.
Well, it's like not just they're like not
This
necessarily
is as close to an IQ test as you have.
like they're not necessarily their reputation, but it's like like I like if you send me a nude, I'm not going to move that fucking nude from my phone. Period. Because
Right.
I just don't want that fucking to come back to me. Did you fucking
Yeah.
But
Also,
like,
I'm pretty sure it's illegal to do that in Canada, even to show people nudes that someone's
Yeah.
sent you
Yeah.
to someone else that they didn't send it to. But anyways,
but like there are guys that as the next thing you know, it's going all over the place. And
Yeah.
like, and it's like why like this girl was nice enough to send you a picture of her boobs.
yeah,
And now you got a fucking
breach of trust.
Yeah, it's like
Her boobs and her face.
I don't think she wants her fucking face and boobs all over the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
But it
she
depend-
could get paid for that if she wanted that.
Yeah, if she
there's
wanted
lots
to
of
do
money
that-
in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just give that stuff away for
I
free.
don't- I think it's mean that like everybody gives you like all these fucking TikTok people are like criticizing women for these OnlyFans things. All right, it's like, but who cares? Like if they can sleep at night, they're fine. If they're making some money, better than fucking make some money while they can, and hopefully they fucking save their money and maybe they meet a nice guy and maybe get
Yeah.
married. Maybe chick maybe made 100,000. Maybe.
Yeah.
And there's a
Totally.
hypocrisy too in like shitting on the women but not the people paying for it. Like if
Yeah,
you're so morally against it,
Yeah.
well, like what about the people who are buying this
Yeah,
stuff?
how about you go after
There's a
them?
market for it.
Yeah, there's it wouldn't exist if people weren't paying.
Yeah, exactly. It's been around. Like the internet probably wouldn't exist without porn, without the revenue from porn.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a lie.
Yeah.
That's the absolute truth of the matter. Same with VHS before it, right?
Right.
I feel like there have been like a lot of developments that have happened because like dudes were just horny. Like even Facebook started because he wanted to like rate the women on campus.
Exactly.
Google image search started because of the J-Lo dress. So many people were trying to like the one that was all
yeah, right.
Everyone wanted to see that dress, so they were like, well, we got to add Google Images.
Interesting.
She's getting killed on TikTok.
Yeah, I guess people don't like her new movie.
Well, it started with her movie, but like it was like a documentary of her life, like that she produced.
Right.
But like, there's this one thing where she's trying to be like, yeah, my hair is like, this is what my hair looked like when I was 16, and like living down the block. Like she was like from the block, I guess.
Yeah.
That was a saying.
She's still Jenny from the block.
Jenny's like this is running up and down the block, and like all these people that were from that area or from her age, they're like start coming out like. She's full of shit. Like she wasn't like this. She lived in a nice house. She wasn't a poor woman, and then, but then now it's like interactions of J-Lo with like fans, and there's hundreds of them, and none of them are good.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, like all these like girls, mostly girls, just like meeting J-Lo somehow, and how she's just being a real bitch. You know, rude to them.
Yeah.
Interesting,
but
that sucks.
Poor girl. Whatever.
I'm sure she'll find a way to recover.
Yeah,
with her piles of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the only thing she values is her fame, so it will hurt her. It'll hurt her bad. And maybe that's what you can do to these three individuals instead of murdering them. Set them up, make them famous, and then out them for the awful people that they are, and watch everything crumble around them.
It's a long con.
The long con,
psychological torture.
Yeah.
Would you date a porn star?
No.
Would you date a porn star?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If they were still working?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Well, it depends. How often were they working? That seems like, because you got to have some leftover energy for me. That just seems like it'd be a really tiring job, to be honest.
Do you want to cuddle? No, I got to work tomorrow.
They're working, I guess, once a week, maybe.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I think like the real porn stars, I think I don't know how the testing works, but they all test. They have to be tested.
I was going to say they're very healthy because they have to be tested so often.
A lot of them tend to just basically have sex with just each other. Like they don't. Like I think a lot of porn stars don't even bother fucking the general public because. You know what I mean? It's just not worth the headaches.
Right.
Yeah.
I think girls say like guys always usually choke. Like when they're like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this guy, and then they get all insecure and can't perform because like they think about all the
because it's the porn star and they
like
how am I gonna compete?
How I'm gonna compete?
Yeah.
I would date a porn star.
You would,
Yeah.
definitely.
I would
That's
because
no
you know why I want, because then it'd be like. If you do like an open relationship, like say like I like the idea of an open relationship. I've never done it, but like just because I like the idea of not having to police someone,
right?
Like worrying about whether this person's cheating on me or not. And if it's like just like if you want to fuck someone else, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But with that, there's still emotions and love. Not that there wouldn't be with a porn star, but with a porn star, it's fucking 100%. You're like, okay, I'm getting like she's getting banged once a week, whatever, and I know it. And I just like the idea of not having...
The certainty, like you're aware of exactly what that is.
I like the idea of not having to fucking... Like, I think what stresses out relationships a lot, what the girls and guys, is like, girls are really good at being detectives, too, trying to figure out if their boys are up to no good, you know?
It's the true crime podcast that we're listening to. I'm telling you, homework.
Yeah, they fucking... And it's like, if you ever cheat on a girl, too, like... I'm telling you, like they just know it. Like they don't have to fucking catch you. They'll just fucking feel it. Like you've done something wrong. Like there's something.
But I always find that to be really odd. Like these people who are able to lead a double life, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have a family, but I cheat on my wife all the time. I don't know how you would
Who
have the
has
mental
the energy and the time for that?
Yeah.
I told a girl one time, the girlfriend, she's like, Are you dating anybody else? Are you fucking someone else? I'm like, and she lived in Toronto, and I'd always like, she'd spend a couple days here, and I'd drive her to the bus station, and then I'd go to Toronto and hang out with her sometimes too. Like it was a real relationship. But like I say, like, what? Who do you think I am? Like, it's not like meaning like I'm this like suave, like I can get all these chicks. I'm like, like how much energy, and not even sex energy. I'm like, I'm fucking, I'm like constantly having to do stuff, and I'm like, I'm with you. We're doing stuff together, and I'm like, you think I drop you off? I'm like, oh, perfect. Now I can go hang out with like Sally and fucking take her to a dinner and fucking listen about her day.
Carrying on like 2 constant conversations just sounds like too much work.
Yeah, absolutely. Having to pay
One is
attention to
enough.
2 people. My goodness.
Yeah. And I will, like, here's the thing. If I'm going to do something, I'm just going to fucking do it, right? Like, whatever it is. Like, if I'm dating a girl and she's talking to me about whatever, it could be the boringest thing, I'm going to fucking listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to her and give her my time if she's my girlfriend, because that's what you do.
Right.
And like I can't do that twice.
Yeah, exactly. It takes everything that you have to just focus on the one.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes.
I'm giving you everything I have. I'm listening to you how you're better than your friends. And then like the people at work are just always in the wrong and all that fucking all that shit, and you're like,
only non-idiot at work. I get it. Yeah.
How
fall apart.
How's the world so stupid and I'm so perfect? I'm like, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
As long as you're not one of the ones that are in the shit house, then you're good, right? Like focus. Yeah, they're wrong. I'm good. I'm still good.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm a problem too.
That's right.
Yeah,
I like to laugh. I just double that up.
Yeah.
That times 2.
Well, how does dating have because do you tour a lot still, or do you usually stick around Hamilton now mostly? Or not just Hamilton, but
mostly
Ontario?
Hamilton, Ontario. I do a little bit of touring once in a while. My mom's in a nursing home, so and I see her every day, so it's like a little hard. She gets antsy if I'm gone too long, so I'm raised with guilt. So
Good Catholic boy.
so I have to see
It's effective.
They all think I'm fucking crazy at this nursing home.
Really?
Yeah, because like I literally
Because you're there all the time?
Yeah, I go every fucking day. She's been there for like, I don't know, 2.5 years, 3 years, I guess.
Right.
And I've been there. I go I'll miss the odd day here and there, but like, like maybe like 90 days will go by before I miss a day.
Yeah, but dude, you must be the envy. Your mom must be the envy of every other person in there.
Well, the ones that are able to think, but
Right.
Like, there's a lot of people with dementia in there. Like, it's a nursing home, right? But like, there are like, there's a few people. Yeah, I think they are like jealous of my mom. Like, oh, my son doesn't come every day.
Yeah.
I've talked to guys who are like, oh, so because like I'll meet someone else that's on the floor and they're going to visit their mom, like, and you kind of know, like, oh, hey, dude. They're like, oh, so you come every day? I hear you come every day. I'm like, so like I was probably getting the bolts from his mom. It's like, this guy comes every day. I'm like, yeah.
You're making us all look bad, man.
Yeah, it's
like, stop it.
Yeah.
People are going to start sabotaging you so you can't make it, just so they don't look so bad.
You want a job
The nursing home for you.
Work on a cottage for a week. It is funny how social capital changes over the years, though. You know, like a woman your mom's age, the coolest thing she could be is someone who gets a visit from her son every day. You know what I mean?
Do you hear any like gossip about what's going on in the home? Like who's hooking up with who? Because apparently that's a big thing sometimes in these nursing homes.
A lot of sex.
Well, there was one lady. She's not. I think she might have passed now, or got moved. I think she passed, but she was like didn't really talk, but she was in a wheelchair, and I guess she had some big boobies. And there's this one guy. I think his name was George. He just walk around with his cane, and then if no one was looking, he'd just start groping her boobs.
Oh no!
So they always had to keep. There would always have to be a nurse around this lady.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then
freaking never ends, does it?
Yeah,
you can't just be an old lady and get these creeps away from you.
Yeah. And this dude just walks up and down the hallway all day with his little walker thing, and just waiting patiently for them to fuck up where they are not watching her. And that's when he can usually get in there at least once a day and grab this woman's boobies because he's patient and he's still there.
And he's got nothing else to do.
He's got nothing else to do.
That's his whole life, is just trying to
that guy needs a visit
squeeze
from
this
his
lady's
kids,
boobs.
yeah.
And then
somebody go visit your grandpa.
I've caught him.
Go ahead.
I caught him 3 times.
Really?
Doing it like myself.
Right.
And I'm like, and he sees me. Like I come around the corner and he's like, just like, grabbing this woman's boobies, and then I go, hey, and he goes, oh, and he just starts walking away
slowly with his Zimmer frame.
Yeah,
it's a slow speed chase.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That is awful.
yeah, and then like he's around still. I see him every day, and sometimes he's like around me. And I obviously don't like this guy, but like I'll see him look at like my mom sometimes, and I go, I start giving him like a bit of a dirty look, like what the fuck, bud?
Yeah.
Like, so I think because he's just got it. I don't even think he can talk, but I think he's just got it together enough that he knows that like he shouldn't touch my mom.
Yeah.
Because. I won't.
You're cock blocking your mom.
Yeah, I know.
You're protecting her from a creep, is what you're doing.
Well, maybe I should ask her. Maybe she wants to get her boobs grabbed. I don't know. Maybe they put this They put this one chair sideways. I think down the hall. This one guy goes there because he's like, the chair's got like a arm thing here, like so you can't like couldn't see him from the side, and so I think he plays with his dick sometimes. So he just sits there, and so you can't really see him.
It's welded to my hand.
They're all fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, let's talk a little bit more, and then we'll close it up. Right?
Okay. Wait, did we talk about farting?
No, we still haven't talked about it yet.
We haven't talked about farting.
No. So you've got this joke about how girls don't fart,
right?
Basically, and every time I've heard you do it, I'm like, I need to corner him and tell him about my history of farting.
Okay.
Because I grew up with 4 older brothers, so needless to say, farting was a great fun in our house. To the point where my mom had to make a rule that there was no farting allowed at the dinner table. But then that really backfired, because then what started happening...
No pun intended.
And this was my dad's fault too. He would just, instead of holding their farts, everyone would just get up and stand in the doorway to the hallway and let her rip, and then let the fart echo down the hallway. So it just made the farts even better. But then so that's how I was raised. That's how I was raised, thinking about farts.
And you're okay. So you're just okay with like hearing farts and
yeah. Well, I've realized that like when my brothers, I can like identify each of my family members by like the stench of their farts, because I realize now anytime someone's like, I farted, I'm like, oh, gross. And I like smell, like I can't stop myself from doing this. It's some deranged flaw of mine. I need to know who was responsible and like how much booze they drank last night, basically.
Right.
You'd be a detective, right?
Yeah. But anyways, I remember when I was in like grade 1 or 2, like being in class and like farting and being like, I can't wait for people to like figure out that I farted.
Right.
But instead of people being like, ha ha ha, farts, everyone was like, ah, gross, who did that? So then from that moment forward, I stopped farting to the point where it just became natural and my farts just became absorbed on the inside.
Right.
And then about 6 years ago, I was like, this probably isn't good for me. I think I should probably start farting again. So I started forcing myself to fart every morning and night. And then within a week, I think I lost 5 pounds. So this is my PSA to say everyone should be farting.
Are you being serious?
Yes, I'm being very serious.
But like you never farted for 20 odd years?
Well, like I would sometimes, but I wouldn't even like think of it.
Right.
Even when people weren't around, I just...
You made it a habit.
Yeah, it just became a thing about my body. But now I just like can't control my farts when I'm in bed because I trained myself to fart in bed.
5 pounds of air is a lot of air.
Yeah. I felt way better like immediately. I was oh, I'm not bloated all the time now because my stomach's not full of 20 years of farts.
Yeah. Well, I think it's bad for you to hold in a fart.
It is.
I heard this thing. I think it comes, like, it'll come out your mouth.
See, I was always a big burper.
Okay.
And I remember telling this story to my friends at the time where I was like, I finally started farting again. And I grew up with a lot of guy friends and they were like, of course you fart. I've heard you fart so many times. I'm like, you have not? Like, think about it. You haven't.
Yeah.
They're like, I guess you're right.
I don't even, it's weird because I don't like I don't, if a girl farts, I'm fine with it. But as far as it's weird. I can't picture a girl pooing.
That's
you know
like the biggest equalizer though is poop. Like everybody poops. I feel like that is even more than anything else. Everybody poops.
But I can't picture it.
It's probably good that you're not picturing people shitting. Like, are you picturing guys shitting?
I don't think you need a mental image of that in your head.
No, but I can see a guy shit. Like if I picture a guy shitting, it doesn't.
It makes sense.
It makes sense to me. Like I don't like. Oh no, I don't believe that. But if I saw a girl sitting on a toilet, I just think she's peeing.
Yeah.
Only peeing.
Yeah.
And if they're like, it's like, if you told me like, oh yeah, some shit came out of her asshole, I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, I don't believe that.
It's just rainbows.
Yeah, I don't believe it for a second. And
just
like,
little Hershey's Kisses instead. Just little chocolates.
I'm like, girls are so like, that's what I mean. I picture girls being like, because they're so pretty and like there's something so pure about a girl in a way that I picture girls themselves are like, I can't eat. I don't want poo coming out of my asshole. It's not even an eating disorder. It's just not even like I can't have poo coming out of this hole. That's so wrong.
I don't know if that counts as an eating disorder or a poo disorder.
But I'd be like, if you're like, I don't eat because I don't like poo coming out of my asshole. I'd be like, yeah, I hear you.
It checks out.
I wouldn't be like you're gonna die. I'm like, no, I'm with you. I think we should figure out.
Is that what the human centipede was all about? Just to like deny the existence of poo for some people?
Maybe. I've never seen that. Have you seen it? It seems too scary.
I'm not good with
the human
horror.
centipede?
There's a movie, right?
You've never heard of this human centipede?
No.
It's like a fucked up horror film where some crazy dude sews 3 people together like mouth to bum.
Right.
Like a human
Well, I wonder
centipede.
why that's never come across my screen.
And
Wow,
the-
that sounds brutal.
and the-
Well, it was like all the rage when it came out.
Yeah, it was a big deal when it came out. I never
For
saw
being
it.
so fucked, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, the guy at the head of the line was like, they were like, please don't eat. You know what I mean? Like, because if he ate, it just worked its way down, right?
Gross.
It's so gross.
Gross.
Oh, that is not how we're ending this pod. Speaking of gross, though, Manolis, you and I have a history when it comes to farting as well.
Yeah. That was
Essentially,
I like that you immediately know.
at the Blue Ox. He came in early.
So
for a
listen,
shift.
we were working at the Blue Ox. Manolis was working overnight as security and rolling joints.
Wait, what's the Blue Ox? This
It
is
was a weed store before
Okay.
weed
In
was
Hamilton?
legal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't an illegal weed store. It was weed that was illegal. The store was perfectly legal. And, you know, like I was still fairly new in comedy at the time. I obviously still have a lot to learn from Manolis. But it's the only job I ever showed up like a half an hour early for. Just because on the off chance that Manolis would say something absolutely brilliant that I could then incorporate into my own work. And it did happen more often than not. But, I mean, it was August. Beers in the evening. A breakfast sandwich from Tim Hortons and a large double on the way in, scarfed with great speed. Yeah, there were some mornings where
You went. That wasn't even a fart, didn't you? There's a bathroom just kind of around the corner. It's like a small bathroom.
So who was the perpetrator in this? This was Dan,
I was
was?
dropping. I was
He
dropping.
took a giant shit. But it was like, and like he came back and like I don't think you closed. Maybe you didn't close the door, but like the whole. But it was like, imagine like if you took a shit in this bathroom right here, right? But then this whole kitchen,
walks.
yeah, the whole kitchen was like, oh, what the fuck? How the fuck is this smell here?
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was like in my head, I'm like, oh my god, you're dead. Your insides
Yeah.
are dead.
Yeah.
Like you need to go like literally see a doctor and say what's.
Yeah. I have one brother whose farts have always been terrible. It's like your insides are rotting to the point when
Right.
he was a kid, my mom tried to get him to take, I think it was just like omega-3 pills or something, but we just used to call him his fart pills.
Right.
And he didn't like having to take them. So he started hiding all his fart pills under the couch around the house, which only resulted in him getting made fun of more. So
You're right. Interesting.
I was when I was a lifeguard one time, I was like working, and there was like a citywide swim meet, and it was like all girls, like Catholic girls citywide swim meet. They're all like, I don't know, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, whatever, right? And I'm lifeguarding, and I went through this period where like I'm always trying different things. This is so long. This is like 20 years ago, right? It's like, but I heard the word bran. I didn't even know what it was. Oh, you eat fucking bran cereal. It helps clean you out, and this is good for you. So I started just eating bran cereal every morning, right?
Yeah.
But after like a week, it was like it was just making me shit more, but also fart like crazy, right? But it was so bad. It was like you'd fart, like, oh my god, like oh my god, like I was like, oh my
like-
fucking god,
You
right?
gross yourself out with your own fart. You know it's a
it's
bad
like
one.
walking into a wall sometimes.
I'm like to the point where I got to the point where like I realized I got to stop eating the
brain.
cereal because this is bad. But
It's
before-
affecting your social life.
It's affecting everything, right? And I'm working, and there's like the Jimmy Thompson Rec Center. There was like a set of stairs where the pool area goes down on both sides, like almost like a V, and then there's the main office. So I was going down these stairs. And like I was farting too much already. I was farting all day, but I was like, when you're farting, you're just like, if you can keep moving, then you're just like, you're not around for the
Crop
fucking
dusting is the term.
Yeah.
So I was just doing a lot of that day, and I already stopped eating the cereal, but still was going to be another 3-4 days before it stopped. Right? This was
To
that
work
bad.
its way out of the system.
Yeah, it's that bad. So I'm walking, I'm jogging down the stairs. I'm 3/4 down the stairs, like fucking 30 stairs, and I didn't realize there was two girls. They're walking downstairs behind me. So I'm like walking down, like perfect. I'm like just coming out of my ass, like
One continuous one, or was
yeah.
it like every step was like a boop boop?
no, just continuous air. It was like the air
Right
was
in
so
their face.
It was so bad. The farts were so bad that like it was my asshole was like in pain. Like, you know what I mean? It was like my asshole's like, this is too wretched. It's not like
It's like flapping in the wind as you were fighting.
and I get to the bottom of the stairs, and these two girls are walking behind me. I didn't know they were about halfway down, and I hear this. I swear I hear the one girl. Both girls will go, oh my god, like this scream, like oh my god. And I look, and they have now not just said oh my god, they both fell down on their butts on the stairs. Both of them are on the stairs, like on their ass. They're going, and they're like, oh my god. They're just screaming and moving their hands. Oh my god, ah, I'm screaming, and I run into the office before I can react. I shut the door, and I lie on the ground and laugh for like 10 minutes, like trying to catch I'm laughing so much I can't even breathe. I'm like
You
I was like-
incapacitated them
Yeah.
with your farts.
you ever laugh so much that you have please stop, I can't breathe. It was
yeah.
like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm by myself.
Yeah.
I'm just by myself. And then, because I was on a break, I had to go back up and sit in the guard chair where it's like, so there's like 2,000 people that are sitting around you in the stands that can see you. So now I'm just sitting there knowing these girls are somewhere in this fucking field of kids that are like, look like that guy. I think and I'm like,
He's the one.
He's the one, but I'm just sitting in this guard chair. I like being chill, and then all of a sudden I just start laughing hysterically in the guard chair by myself because I can't stop thinking about it.
I told you that would be fun.
Yeah.
Got all your questions answered. Fantastic, Alicia. Hey, we're back with a segment called Dansplains, and I know the listening audience is like, wait, we just heard a Dansplains. It's proven so popular, this segment. Honestly, I get more requests for this.
Yeah.
Dan, please drop more knowledge on us.
The people wanted it.
People wanted it. But in the development of our friendship, Alicia, I have learned that you love a good pub quiz.
I absolutely do.
Fantastic. So, general knowledge, any particular subjects, a Disney theme?
Everything except geography.
That seems fair enough.
Yes. Because not only do I enjoy a pub quiz, I also love a Jeopardy, including a Jeopardy app. And I know that geography is my worst subject.
I didn't know Jeopardy had an app.
Oh, yeah, it's
Oh,
fun.
nuts. I
Yeah.
don't need more distractions.
Yeah.
I don't need more distractions. So listen, one of my, I got two things I want to say about
okay.
trivia. I'm going to explain.
I'm excited.
And this is one of my favorite things of all time. Do you know where the word trivia comes from?
No.
Oh, get ready to have your mind blown. So, back in ancient Roman times, in Rome, the city of Rome, the eternal city, there are three rivers that join together, the Tre Verte. Okay. And women would take the washing down there and beat the washing against the rocks and complain about their syphilis.
The syphilis they got from their cheating husbands.
That's it. What did he bring home? They didn't have antibiotics back then. It was a real issue. It was a real issue.
They
But
did
so
have birth
anyway, so
control then.
Tri Verte, trivial, the conversation taking place was considered to be trivial conversation, and that's where you get the word from. So when you participate in a pub quiz, all you're really doing is promoting misogyny and propping up the patriarchy. I hope you appreciate that.
Why does the patriarchy have to ruin everything, Dan?
I think it's all in the way you frame it.
That is pretty funny, though, because I feel like trivia it's like you think you're being smart, being not trivia, like, ooh, I'm so smart, but it's just some trivial shit.
It is trivial shit. Like, remember the game Trivial Pursuit? I guess there's no... I guess it's a lot better than a game called Life or Death, I think. I think that would be good. So this is the second most interesting thing I know. I love this fact. Do you know where the word avocado comes from?
I don't.
Oh,
I feel like this is maybe one I have heard, but I don't know.
Oh, I probably shared it with you before. I really only know 6 things. I believe, I might have this part wrong, but it's in either an Inca or a Mayan word for testicle.
Ooh, I think I did know that,
yeah, because of the shape of it and all. So, like, you're having testicles on toast.
I think about the seed, too. Like, the
seed inside?
The seed of the avocado looks pretty testicular.
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough.
So
I'm going to be down there feeling avocados going, how big are the seeds that she's... Anyways.
Yes, if we see you molesting some avocados in the produce aisle.
Just with my arm out, holding it up to the light.
Like, I see it. I see why the name
waiting till someone stops and says, are you okay? And then I go, do you know what the word avocado, do you know where it comes from? Yes. So that is why this segment is so popular, because it's full of such fantastic information.
Well, I learned something. I'm glad.
That's amazing.
I
think you learned a lot this week. Magical. Right. So please, folks, do follow us on the Instagram, which is
Almost There CA.
And then obviously we have a YouTube channel, but we'd love it if you followed us on Spotify. That's where we're trying to focus our energies at the moment. So one day...
Or wherever you listen to podcasts, give us a follow.
That's right. Or wherever, sorry. We're agnostic as to where you listen to it. Just listen. All right? Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you next episode.
Time.
Bye.